For the past 3 months, a shadow has been haunting me, but not in the way you'd think. It's not lurking in dark corners or flickering in my peripheral vision. No, this shadow only appears when I close my eyes. The moment my eyelids shut, it's there, a tall, indistinct figure, standing just inches from my face. So I tried to ignore it. I'd squeeze my eyes shut tighter, willing the image away, telling myself it wasn't real, but it was always there, waiting in the darkness behind my eyelids. The first few weeks were manageable. Annoying, sure. Unsettling, definitely. But I could still function. I'd go to work, hang out with friends, and try to live my life as normally as possible. But the lack of restful sleep started to take its toll. I was constantly on edge, jumping at the slightest sound. I tried explaining it to my doctor. I sat in his sterile office, the fluorescent lights humming overhead, and tried to put words to the experience. He listened patiently, nodding, but I could see the skepticism in his eyes. "It's just stress, Arizona," he said, patting my shoulder. "Your mind needs a break. A break, right?" As if a week in Hawaii could banish the entity that had taken up residence in my head. They just made me groggy and even more disconnected from reality. The shadow remained, a constant, silent companion in my moments of supposed rest. It never moved, never made a sound. It just stood there, an oppressive presence that was starting to feel more and more solid. I started to become afraid of blinking, afraid of the brief moments of darkness that would bring it into view. I'd find myself staring at my computer screen for hours, my eyes burning, just to avoid seeing it. My friends started to notice the change in me. "You look exhausted," they'd say. "Is everything okay?" How could I explain it? "Hey guys, there's a spooky shadow man living behind my eyelids, but only when they're closed." Yeah, that would go over well. I'd probably get a one-way ticket to a padded room. So I just smiled and lied. "Just a lot on my plate at work," I'd mumble, forcing a yawn. The isolation was almost as bad as the shadow itself. Some people described seeing geometric patterns or flashes of light, but no one, not a single person, described what I was seeing. A distinct, humanoid shape, always in the same place, always watching. My eyelids would flutter shut, and there it would be, the shadow. But in the dreams, it was worse. It would lean closer, and I'd feel an icy breath on my skin. The city lights cast faint patterns on the wall. I must have been on the very edge of sleep, that blurry space between waking and dreaming. I closed my eyes, and the shadow appeared, as it always did. Every instinct told me to keep my eyes clamped shut. The whisper had confirmed its sentience, its awareness of me. It knew I was there, and it didn't want me to see what was on the other side. My entire body trembled with a primal fear. What was waiting for me? What would happen if I obeyed? What would happen if I didn't? My curiosity, or maybe it was just defiance, won out. I couldn't live like this anymore, a prisoner in my own mind. With a surge of adrenaline, I snapped my eyes open. I braced myself for something, for the room to be empty, for the logical explanation to finally click into place. I expected to let out a shaky breath of relief, to laugh at my own foolishness. But that's not what happened. The shadow was still there. It hadn't vanished with the darkness behind my eyelids. It was standing at the foot of my bed, a towering silhouette against the faint glow of the window. It was no longer a figment. It was real. It had crossed over. It was that closing my eyes was the only time I could see what was already there, standing right in front of me the whole time.